How do I shut down/close a pluggable database? When connected to current PDB. SQL alter pluggable database close. When connected to root. SQL alter pluggable database PDB6 close. How do I shut down/start up the container database? Use startup/shutdown command similar to startup/shutdown of non-CDB. When the container database is shut down, no PDB is accessible. In a CDB, the root and all of the PDBs share a single instance, or, when using Oracle RAC, multiple concurrent database instances. You start up and shut down an entire CDB, not individual PDBs. However, when the CDB is open, you can change the open mode of an individual PDB by using the alter pluggable database statement. Which parameters are modifiable at PDB level? SQL select name, ISPDB_modifiable from $. Parameter. What common users do I have in my CDB? SQL select distinct username from CDB_users or common equals yes. How do I create a common user? SQL create user C# #DB_DBA1 identified by manager 1 container equals all. How do I create a local user? SQL create user PDB6_DBA1 identified by manager 1 container equals current. What is the difference between container ID 0 and 1? Con_ID 0 means data does not pertain to any particular container but to the CDB as a whole. For example, a row returned by fetching from $database pertains to the CDB and not to any particular container, so con_ID is set to 0. A container_data object can conceivably return data pertaining to various containers, including the root which has con_ID == 1, as well as to the CDB as a whole, and con_ID in the row for the CDB will be set to 0. Following table describes various values of con_ID column in container data objects. 0 equals the data pertains to the entire CDB. 1 equals the data pertains to the root. 2 equals the data pertains to the seed. 3 to 254 equals the data pertains to a PDB. Each PDB has its own container ID. Are there any background processes X, PMON, SMON, etc. associated with PDBs? No. There is one set of background processes shared by the root and all PDBs. Are there separate control file required for each PDB? No. There is a single redo log and a single control file for an entire CDB. Are there separate redo log file required for each PDB? No. There is a single redo log and a single control file for an entire CDB. Can I monitor SGA usage on a PDB by PDB basis? There are single SGA shared by all pluggable databases. However, you can determine SGA consumptions by all containers I.E, root, and PDB. SQL alter session set container equals CDB$ROT. SQL select pool, name, bytes from $scatstat where con_ID equals and con_ID. SQL select con_ID, pool, sum, bytes, from $scatstat group by con_ID, pool order by con_ID, pool. Can I monitor PGA usage on a PDB by PDB basis? Use the below queries to monitor the SGA usage on per PDB basis. SQL select con_ID, sum, PGA_used_mem, sum, PGA_alloc_mem, sum, PGA_max_mem. From $process. Group by con_ID order by con_ID. SQL alter session set container equals CDB$ROT. SQL select name, value from $systat where name like work area %. SQL alter session set container equals target PDB. Select name, value from $systat where name like work area %. Do I need separate undo table spaces for each of my PDB? There is one active undo table space for a single instance CDB. For an Oracle RAC CDB, there is one active undo table space for each instance. Only a common user who has the appropriate privileges and whose current container is the root can create an undo table space. Undo modes in 12.2 multi-tenant databases, local and shared modes. Do I need separate system tablespaces for each of my PDB? There is a separate system tablespace for the root and for each PDB. Do I need separate sysocs tablespaces for each of my PDB? There is a separate sysocs tablespace for the root and for each PDB. Do I need temporary tablespaces for each of my PDB? There is one default temporary tablespace for the entire CDB. However, you can create additional temporary tablespaces in individual PDBs. One active temporary tablespace is needed for a single instance CDB, or one active temporary tablespace is needed for each instance of an Oracle RAC CDB. Can I specify a separate default tablespace for the root and for each PDB? Yes. You can specify a separate default tablespace for the root and for each PDB. Are all physical data files separate for root and PDB? There are separate data files for the root, the seed, and each PDB. Where is user data stored in CDB? In a CDB, most user data is in the PDBs. The root contains no user data or minimal user data. Does pluggable database support separate database character set? A CDB uses a single character set. All of the PDBs in the CDB use this character set. Oracle recommends the following. For all new deployments and if all PDBs are created empty, Oracle strongly recommends AL32 UTF-8 for the CDB database character set and AL16 UTF-16 for the CDB national character set. If you can migrate your existing databases to AL32 UTF-8 before consolidation, Oracle recommends that you do so and consolidate into one or more AL32 UTF-8 CDBs, depending on your needs. You can use Oracle Database Migration Assistant for Unicode to migrate a non-CDB to AL32 UTF-8. You cannot migrate the CDB using Oracle Database Migration Assistant for Unicode after creation. If you cannot migrate your existing databases prior to consolidation, then you have to partition them into sets with plug-in compatible database character sets and plug each set into a separate CDB with the appropriate superset character set. How do I configure net files in a pluggable database environment? There is a single listener.aura, instnames.aura, and skillnet.aura file for an entire CDB. All of the PDBs in the CDB use these files. How can I install and set up pluggable database? Use Run Installer to install the Oracle database software. Use Docker to create databases. You can create many pluggable databases in a single operation. DBCA enables you to specify the number of PDBs in the CDB when it is created. After a CDB is created, you can use DBCA to plug PDBs into it and unplug PDBs from it. What operations act on PDBs as entities? These operations act on PDBs as entities. Create PDB, brand new, as a clone of an existing PDB by plugging in an unplugged PDB. Unplug PDB. Drop PDB. Set the open_mode for a PDB. How can I create a pluggable database? Use the below queries to create a pluggable database. SQL create pluggable database X admin user identified by P. SQL create pluggable database Y admin user identified by P file_name_convert equals seed Y. How to drop a PDB irrevocably? Use the below queries to drop a PDB database irrevocably. SQL drop pluggable database X including data files. How to clone a PDB from an existing PDB? The clonee must be open in read-only mode. Example using Oracle managed files. SQL create pluggable database X2 from X. How to unplug a PDB? Use the below query to unplug a plugged database. SQL alter pluggable database X unplug into /sum_directory /x_description.xml. The into keyword must be followed by the full path for a description of the PDB in XML generated by the operation. How to add or modify a user-managed service? SQL srvctl add service a PDB, PDB_name. Starting a user-managed service using srvtcl will open the PDB automatically in all the instances in which the service is started. Specifying the empty string as the PDB_name will cause the pluggable database attribute of a service to be set to null. The service can then be used only to connect to the root. How can I view which service is attached to my pluggable database? SQL column name format A30. SQL select PDB, INST_ID, name from GV $services order by 1. Where can I find the alert log for my pluggable database? A single copy of alert log is generated which contains warnings and alert information for all PDBs. XML version of alert can be found in diagram alert and text formatted alert log can be found in diagram trace of the container database. You can find details by selecting from $diag_info dynamic view. Where can I find trace files related to my pluggable database? All traces generated from all PDBs are currently found in diagram trace of the container database. You can find details by selecting from $diag_info dynamic view. Miscellaneous. If a user-defined, common user creates schema objects in a PDB, and if later that PDB is unplugged and plugged into a different CDB in which that common user does not exist, then what happens to the schema objects? By which user will they be owned? Will other users within the PDB, which had been granted privileges on those schema objects, still retain those privileges? If you plug a PDB that contains a common user into a CDB, then the following actions take place. The common user accounts in this PDB lose commonly granted privileges that they may have had, including the set container privilege. If the target CDB has a common user with the same name as a common user in a newly plugged-in PDB, then the new common user is merged with the target CDB common user. The password of the target CDB common user takes precedence. Otherwise, a common user in a newly plugged-in PDB becomes a locked account. In this case, you can do one of the following. Leave the user account locked and use the objects of its schema. Use Oracle data pump to copy these objects to another schema, and then drop the locked user account. Close the PDB, connect to the root, and then create a common user with the same name as the locked account. When you reopen the PDB, Oracle database resolves the differences in the roles and privileges that were commonly granted to the locked user. Afterward, you can unlock this user account in the PDB. Privileges and roles that were locally granted to the user will remain unchanged. Is the multi-tenant option available in Standard Edition? Yes, but you may only create one PDB per CDB. Can a transaction span across PDBs? No, though alter session set container is allowed after starting a transaction in a PDB, only select is allowed in the second PDB. The transaction is preserved and you can do commit or rollback after switch back to original PDB. What data can be seen in CDB_and $v views from each container? CDB_* views are container data objects. When a user connected to the root queries a CDB_* view, the query results will depend on the container_data attribute for users for the view. The container_data clause of the SQL alter user statement is used to set and modify users' container_data attribute. In the root of a multi-tenant container database, CDB_* views can be used to obtain information about tables, table spaces, users, privileges, parameters, and so on contained in the root and in pluggable databases, PDBs. The CDB_* views are owned by sys, regardless of who owns the underlying DBA_* view. By default, a user connected to the root will only see data pertaining to the root. May the database time zone be set on a per PDB basis? Yes. May NLS currency settings, NLS_currency, be set on a per PDB basis? Yes. What is the difference between schema-based consolidation and the multi-tenant architecture? 1. Name collision might prevent schema-based consolidation. 2. Schema-based consolidation brings weak security. 3. Per application, backend, point-in-time recovery is prohibitively difficult. 4. Resource management between application backends is difficult. 5. Patching the Oracle version for a single application backend is not possible. 6. Cloning a single application backend is difficult.